Story time about the worst day of my life. So a little background information. I was 16 at the time, and I was either in 8th grade or 9th grade, but I really don't remember. And I had this boyfriend who we are going to call Cameron. We had been dating for 3 years, but before him and I got together, we were best friends. Well, I also was in a friend group with myself, Amber, and this girl named Sky. Now, I wouldn't really call Sky a pick-me girl. She was more of a jealous best friend. For example, the one day we went shopping for dresses, and I picked this one out that I really liked and that looked super good on me. Amber was like, OMG, you look so beautiful. And then Sky, she was like, that dress is ugly and it makes you look fat. Well, after that, I told her I didn't care what she said and that I was going to get the dress anyways. Well, she didn't like the fact that I wasn't going to listen to her, so she didn't talk to me for 2 whole weeks. And then after, she texted me saying that she forgives me, even though I didn't apologize, but okay. Well then, me being stupid, I introduced her to my boyfriend. So like I said, me being stupid, I introduced her to my boyfriend. Well, after that, Cameron started acting really weird. Like him and I, we would literally hang out with each other 24/7. And now, he was always too busy for me and we would only talk at school. And because I was in all the smart classes and stuff, I would go over to his house to tutor him. Because, I was like the one who was winning every single fucking award for being smart. Well, I came over on the day that I would usually tutor him. And when I went over there, his mom was like, oh, he's busy, he's out with his friends. So then I went home and I got bored and I opened Instagram. Well, I see that he's at a party with Sky and they didn't even invite me. So I asked him about it, and he said, oh, it was her and her boyfriend's party. So I was like, that wasn't really an excuse for why you didn't invite me. So he apologized and I forgave him. Well, 5 weeks later, I found out that him and her did the nasty, and she got pregnant. And then there was a rumor going around that they made out in the bathroom. So I blocked both of them and never saw them again.
Am I the asshole for my response when my mother-in-law threatened to not show up to my wedding? I'm a 33-year-old doctor and getting married to my fiancé this November. I have a somewhat controlling mother-in-law and wedding planning has been an absolute nightmare so far. But here's the situation. My fiancé doesn't have an income because of her medical situation, but she'll go back to work later, so therefore I'm financing the entire wedding. I've set a specific budget for the wedding and honeymoon and planned everything: date, guests, food, etc. Mother-in-law wanted things her way and made a fuss about everything since that's her only daughter. I found out she and her husband found a venue that they wanted us to have the wedding at, but the problem is A, it's very expensive, and B, it's several towns away. My family even said that they'd have to drop out if I chose this venue, so I told mother-in-law that I didn't want it. She kept trying to convince me and made so much fuss to the point where she made it her hill to die on. I kept saying no to her, but she kept insisting. I got home from work on Tuesday and found my mother-in-law and father-in-law, a couple of their relatives there, visiting when there was no one home. She started talking about it again while I was resting on the couch, taking my socks off. I said, hold on, who starts a conversation like that? I just sat down, for Christ's sake, let me catch a breath, will you? But that didn't stop her. She sternly said that her daughter deserves to have her wedding at this venue, and I'm a doctor, I can afford it. And that distance was just an excuse. She said that she made the reservation on the phone and that I had to pay for it within the set date and set time, while pointing to me with her finger, which I thought was very rude and very disrespectful. She followed this with an or else. I asked, or else what? She said if I chose any other venue that she won't attend the wedding. I didn't budge like she thought I would. I just leaned forward and said, alright, I guess the trash took itself out then. The entire house went silent, completely shut down. She stood up and called me disrespectful and a piece of shit to expect her to take my insults as gospel. But I replied, said that she was acting like a gold digger and that she needed to sit down and shut up and let me and my fiancé handle this or go home. She started crying and walked out and everyone followed. Father-in-law was close to spitting in my face. My fiancé found out and said that I disrespected her mom and treated her like shit. I explained how unreasonable her mom was and her demands and total lack of consideration for me, my hard-earned money, and my family. She said she was going to handle this with her and without my intervention, but honestly, it blew her mind how low I stooped and how I treated her mom. She wanted some time alone because she was thinking I might be someone else hiding behind a mask with how I behaved, which hurt me to no end. I think I messed up. I just think I should have waited for my fiancé to deal with it, but I felt overwhelmed when she spoke to me like that. So am I the asshole?
Am I the asshole for unloading in therapy in front of my younger half-siblings? Me, my dad's wife, his wife's sons, and their 3 kids together are all in family therapy. I am a 17 female. My dad decided family therapy was the way to go because I refused to integrate into the family when I moved here 2 years ago following my mom's death. My dad moved away from me after he and my mom decided to divorce for good. They were all on and off until I was 5, and then he just up and moved away one day. The next time I saw him, which was 5 months later, he was living with his wife, her sons, and a year older and younger than me, respectively, and they thought it would be great, that it would be so easy to make a family out of kids as young as us. But I was bitter. My dad was gone. He used to show up to pick me up from school on Fridays, and he would take me to computer coding for kids, and then he was gone. I saw him a few weeks every year, and he called, but it never sat right with me that he left me for them, or even that he left to escape my mom. He could have lived closer, 1 or 2 hours. Instead, he moved 32 hours away. Dad always knew I resented him, and he would tell me not to. We fought a few times because I didn't make the effort to bond with the boys or then his kids with his wife. And when she tried to get close to me, I would tell her I was there to see my dad and not her. I told him he should move back if he wanted things to get better. Then my mom died unexpectedly. She had struggled with some issues for a while, but I thought things were okay. So he moved me out to him and told me it was our chance to get our relationship back on track. But I held it all in, all the anger and bitterness. They started therapy almost 2 years ago, but I didn't want to be there, not with them. Then last week, it all came out. The therapist told me if I wanted to leave, I should wait outside. Dad told me to sit down and take part because that's what they were all there for, to make our family work. And I snapped. I unloaded every single thing that session, 40 minutes of me saying how much I hated my dad for leaving, how this wasn't my family, that I didn't give 2 shits about his kids, stepkids, or his wife, that it was about him and me, and when he left, am I the asshole for refusing to pay for my friend's EpiPen? I'm using a throwaway account because my friends have read it and I don't want them finding this. I have a housemate, Jillian, 26 female, who is severely allergic to peanuts. There are 5 of us who rent a house together, and we all agreed to put a label in our food containers to help keep Jillian safe and avoid contamination. I have a mini fridge in my room where I store my drinks so that I don't have to go to the kitchen if I want a drink in the middle of the night. Well, last Friday, my Filipino girlfriend gave me an authentic Filipino dish for lunch at work. It's called care. It's an oxtail stew with a rich peanut sauce. It's in a glass container, so I saved some so I could have it for dinner. When I got home, I put it in my mini fridge, but I forgot to eat it that night because we ordered pizza for dinner. Saturday, I went out with my girlfriend and got home around 9 p.m. When I arrived, Jillian's girlfriend, Trish, confronted me saying I almost killed Jillian. I didn't know what she was talking about. She went on saying how irresponsible of me to not label the food in my mini fridge in my room. I asked one of our housemates what the F happened, and he said Jillian had an allergic reaction to my stew because I didn't put a label on the container in my room. I told them it's inside my personal mini fridge, and how dare they enter my room without my permission. Trish said they were looking for beer when they saw my stew. She and another housemate ate it, and Jillian only tasted it, and she had anaphylactic shock where they had to use her EpiPen to stop the swelling. Trish then demanded that I needed to pay for an EpiPen. I told them that that is not going to happen. If anything, they should apologize to me for trespassing and stealing my food. They called me an asshole. She and 3 housemates said I nearly caused Jillian her life, and the least I could do is apologize and pay for the EpiPen. So, am I the asshole? Update. Jillian was taken to the hospital. No, I never gave anyone permission to enter my room. I visited Jillian in the hospital today, and she apologized to me for what happened. She says it was an accident. She said she didn't eat my car, but took some rice. She didn't realize that some sauce got onto the rice bowl. I will be charging them for the stolen beer and food. I'm definitely going to be buying a lock after this incident. But do you think I was the asshole? Am I the asshole for stranding my friend on her moving day because she pulled a prank on me? I, 24 male, and my friend, Jess, 22 female, we've known each other for about 3 years since we met in a class. We have always been platonic. And to be completely honest, I'm not the type of guy to go for it. Yesterday, Jess was supposed to move. I was going to drive my truck over to her place, help her load up her stuff, and get her out of her apartment. Her situation with her roommates have become highly unstable due to irreconcilable differences, so she was in a rush to leave. The day before yesterday, as a way of thanking me in advance, Jess ordered pizza for the two of us. We were sitting there watching a movie on my couch, being platonic friends as usual, and suddenly she inched closer to me. I figured it was nothing until a minute later, she got a little closer. Then she got a little closer, and all I could do was think about how it was finally happening. She squeezed up really close to me and looked up at my face. I'm not the most confident guy, so all I could say was, "Hi," to which she responded, "Hi." Then she asked if I wanted to do something. I asked what something was, and she said, "Oh, something." Still trying to keep room for plausible deniability again. I laughed and said I didn't know what something was. She kept staring at me and nodding, and I thought I'd take my chances. I asked if I could kiss her. She immediately stood up, walked to the other end of the room, and sat down on the armchair. Then she took out her phone. I immediately apologized to her, and she said that I should just forget it. A few minutes of incredibly awkward silence passed, and then she said, I guess Kim, her best friend, was right. I asked what Kim was right about, and she explained that for several years, Kim has repeated again and again that I was only trying to get in her pants. Apparently, Kim put her up to testing me.
Disclaimer, this is not my story time. Whose fault is it? In 6th grade, I had a crazy bus driver, and there was crazy students on the bus as well. This caused some major problems. For reference, this was the 3rd bus I moved to because the first one was far too crowded, the second one was a disability bus, but this bus was permanent for the rest of the year. Now, I had gotten on the bus after school, but the bus was crowded, so I didn't sit next to my friend, T, who was sitting near this boy. Keep him in mind. It was a normal bus ride, and so far no one had gotten off yet because we had just drove away from the school. I heard that boy T was sitting next to mumble something under his breath, but I was too far away to hear anything, and ignored it. Next thing I know, I heard people gasp, and I quickly interfered. I saw he punched T. I was too far away to help since I was in the front of the bus and this was in the back. But then I saw T punch him back, which started a punching frenzy. At this point, everyone ganged up on the boy since he hit a girl. We were all watching her. At this point, the bus driver had pulled over and cars were honking behind us. I was trying to understand what the bus driver was saying. I looked back and the boy was running out the fire escape. We couldn't believe it, and people were laughing. Everyone was calming down, but we still pulled over. At this point, we had been pulled over for about 15 minutes, and we were supposed to be home already. But the bus driver kept telling us that we couldn't leave until the police got there. We wanted to go home, so most of us already texted our parents to come get us. Yet, she insisted that we stay on the bus. Now, there were tons of parents on the sidewalk that the bus was pulled over near, trying to pick up their kids. We were stuck in there. Some people started opening up the windows and yelling out to their parents. The door to the bus opened on accident and a bunch of kids trampled out, including my sister, but I was still stuck on the bus because she closed the door just in time. My parents started to catch on that I was stuck. and my dad and my sister were waiting. The main was that we couldn't leave until the police got there. We wanted to go home, so most of us already texted our parents to come get us. Yet, she insisted that we stay on the bus. Now, there were tons of parents on the sidewalk that the bus was pulled over near, trying to pick up their kids. We were stuck.